Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Algebra. We're finishing up section 2.4 today, which is about multiplication of real numbers. And today we're doing the review for mastery as well as challenge practice problems. So let's start. So the first problem we have is find the product, and it is minus 5 times 4. The product is going to be minus 5 times 4 is 20. Number 2, we have two real numbers with different signs, so the product is negative. 8 times 9 is 72. Number 3, we have two real numbers with the same sign, so the product is positive. 12 times 6 is 72. Number 4, two numbers with the same sign, so the product is positive. 4 and 2 cancel out by 2, so this is plus 2. Okay. Number 5. Let's do first 4 times 5, which is 20, and then times minus 8. Then plus and minus is minus. 20 times 8, 2 times 8 is 16, and then the 0, so minus 160. Number 6. Let's do 8 times 8 first. So minus 8 times minus 8. So it's minus 8 times minus 8, then times minus 2. Minus and minus is plus. 8 times 8 is 64, times minus 2. It's going to be minus, and then 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 6 is 12, so minus 128. Okay, and next is number 7 right here. Identify the property being illustrated. So this is the multiplicative property of 1, or just the identity property of multiplication. So when we're multiplying any number by 1, it's the same number. Number 8, this is going to be the associative property of multiplication. This is the same as a times b times c equals a times b times c. Okay. Number 9, this is the multiplicative property of 0. A number multiplied by 0 is 0. Any number multiplied by 0 is 0. Number 10, this is the commutative property of multiplication. This is the same as a times b equals b times a. Okay. Okay, next is 11. We have two numbers with the same sign. This is plus, and then it's just 9x. Here we have, let's multiply the numbers first, so different signs. So minus 3 times 12 is 36, and then the w. Here, let's get the numbers first multiplied. So minus and plus is minus. 5 times 8 is 40, and then we have times minus z. So minus and minus is plus, and then it's just 40z. So 1 through 6 here. Alone, your aunt lends you $130 to buy a television. She will decrease the amount you owe by $20 for each day you help her around the house. How much will you owe your aunt after working for her for 3 days? Well, it's $130 you owe her minus $20 per day times 3 days. So 130 minus 20 times 3 is 60. So this is 70. So $70 you owe your aunt after working for her for 3 days. Number 2, stocks. You buy 30 shares of a stock at $5 per share. Over the first week, you have the stock. The average price change is 0.15 or 15 cents. Over the second week, the average price change is negative, goes down by 7 cents, minus 0.07. What is the total value of the shares after the 2 weeks? So from $5 goes to 5.15, and then goes negative 0.7. So it's basically 5 plus 0.15, and then minus 0.07, then times 30 shares. So this is the amount of shares here, 30, and then this is the price of the share. at the end of the second week, after the 2 weeks. So this is basically 5.08 times 30, or this is going to be, you can use your calculator to do this, or you can do it on the side. 5.08 times 30, this is $152.40. This is the total value of the shares after the 2 weeks. Number 3, hot air balloon. A hot air balloon is at a height of 800 feet. The balloon rises at a rate of 30 feet per minute for 5 minutes, and then falls at a rate of 35 feet per minute for 9 minutes. What is the height of the hot air balloon? So it starts off at 800, so 800, and then it rises up, so plus 30 feet per minute times 5 minutes, and then falls minus at 35 feet times 9 for 9 minutes. This is 800 plus 30 times 5 is 3 times 5 is 15, and the 0, 115, minus 5 times 9 is 45, 5 and 4, 3 times 9 is 27, and 4, 31, so minus 315. So this is 800 plus 150 is 950, so 950 minus 315, or this is 635. 950 minus 315, it's 635 feet. Okay, this is that was number 3. Number 4, banking. You have $500 in a savings account. Over a 2-month period, you make 7 withdrawals of $40 each. What is your new balance? So you start off with 500, and then you do withdrawals. You take money out. How many? 7 times $40 each. So that is 500 minus 4 times 7 is 28, and the 0. So this is $220 left, or in your new balance. Number 5, wishing well. A coin is tossed into a wishing well. The coin's depth is changing by minus 5 inches per second. Find the position of the coin relative to the top of the well after 9 seconds. So it's basically minus 5 times 9, or minus 45 inches. Okay. Lakes. In 1963, the elevation of the Great Salt Lake in Utah was about 4191 feet. From 1963 to 1986, the average rate of change of elevation was about 0.88 foot per year. From 1986 to 2005, the average rate of change of elevation was about minus 0.76 foot per year. Approximate the elevation in 2005. So, okay. So you started off at with 4191 feet. Then the average rate of change of elevation was from 1986 to from 1986 to 1963. So we have to subtract these, get the number of years times. So this would be a straight bracket. This is parentheses, and then you have to multiply that by 0.88. And this is plus here. So we're adding that, and then plus from 2005 to 1986. We're multiplying that by negative 0.76, and this is also in straight brackets, and that would be our answer. So 4191 plus, now 1986 minus 1963, that's what, 23. So we get 23 times 0.88, this is 20.24, and then plus 2005 minus 1986, that's 19. So we have here 19 times negative 0.76. Okay, so let's do here 4191 plus 20.24. We have 4211.24, and then this one here, 19 times 0.76 is 14.44, and it's negative sign, so negative 14.44 or that's going to be 4196.8 feet is the elevation in 2005. Elevation in 2005. Okay. That was review for mastery. Now challenge practice problems. Number one, simplify the product. So here we're gonna just be simplifying or canceling out. So x cancels out with x, y cancels out with y, 3 cancels out with 3. So the answer is 1. So we have 1 everywhere. So we end up with 1 over 1 or just 1. So 1 is the answer for number 1. Number 2, in exercise 1, so it refers to the first problem. Suppose x and y are negative numbers. It doesn't matter, right? Negative, positive will cancel out because x and x cancels out. Doesn't matter if x is -5 or 5 or because it's x over x, so they cancel out. So will the answer change? No. In exercise 1, suppose x is a positive number and y is a negative number. Will the answer change? No, again, because it doesn't matter if x is positive or negative. We're canceling out, simplifying, and x cancels out with x. In exercises 4 to 6, identify the properties of multiplication used. So for number 4, b minus b is 0. So this is the property of 0. Then here we have a times minus 1. So that's the property of minus 1. Okay, so those two properties. Number 5, we have a times b times c equals a times c times b. So this is the associative property, but also the commutative property, because here we have c and b switched places. Number 6, we have here a times 1, so that's the property of 1. We have a times minus 1, that's the property of minus 1. And then a plus minus a is 0, so we have end up with 0 here. 0 times a equals 0, so that's the property of 0. So all three properties of 1, minus 1, and 0 end up for number 6. The associative and commutative properties for number 5, and the property of 0 and -1 for number 4. Okay, in exercises 7 to 9, simplify the expression and then justify your steps. So here, number 7, so we have a times -1 times b, that's minus b, and then plus b. Minus b plus b, that's 0, right? So these cancel also 0, and then we have a times 0, or that is 0. So that's the answer for 7. Number 8, here, let's get rid of the parentheses. So we have x plus a, then plus a minus x, and minus a. X cancels out with minus x, plus a cancels out with minus a, and we just end up with this a here. So a is the answer for 8. Number 9, we have x minus x, or 0, right? So we have a times b times 0, this term right here, a times b times 0, and then plus 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is 1 times y. Any number times 0 is 0. So this whole term here is 0. Then plus 1 times y, or this is just y. Okay, 1 times y is just y. Number 10, evaluate the expression. Okay, so 1 over 6 cancels out with 6. Okay, because that's 6 over 6 or just 1. So 1 over 6 cancels out with 6. 1 over 5 cancels out with 5. 1 over 4 cancels out with 4. 1 over 3 cancels out with 3. 1 over 2 cancels out with 2. And then we just end up with 1. So 1 is the answer. Okay, number 11. If x minus 1 in parentheses times x plus 1 in parentheses is greater than 0, then what is the smallest integer value that x could be? So integers, right? Integers are negative infinity all the way to -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to plus infinity, right? Those are the integers. And what is the smallest integer? So what is the smallest integer that this is greater than 0, right? So let's do it here. So 11, let's do it here. So we have x minus 1 times x plus 1 is greater than 0. So if x is 1, we have here 1 minus 1, that's 0. And we know that any number times 0 is 0. And a 0, we end up with 0 is greater than 0. That's not true. Okay. So how about 2? Then 2 minus 1 is 1 times x is 2 times x is 2, 2 plus 1 greater than 0. So here 1 times 2 is 2. So this is 2 times 2 plus 1 is 3 is greater than 0. 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 is greater than 0. So yes, this is true. So x is 2. And what happens if we do we can do 0, right? We tried 0 here. If we do 0, then the whole thing is 0, and 0 is not greater than 0, right? So we tried 1. Then 1 minus 1 is 0. So we again get 0. 0 is not greater than 0. Then we try 2. Yes. So 2 is the smallest integer. Now, what happens if we do minus 1, right? Now, minus 1 here, minus 1 plus 1 is 0. This term right here, minus 1, if x is minus 1, minus 1 plus 1 is 0. So we again, we get 0 is greater than 0, which is not true. How about minus 2? Well, minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. Right, so we're going to end up with a negative number, right? So let's try x equals minus 2. So we have minus 2 minus 1 times minus 2 times minus 2 plus 1 is greater than 0. Minus 2 minus 1, that's minus 3 times minus 2 times minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. So we have 3 negative numbers, that's minus, and then 3 times 2 is 6. So minus 6 is greater than 0. That's not true. So we can't have negative integers. And then we tried 0, that doesn't work. We tried 1, that doesn't work. 2, yes, it works. So 2 is the smallest integer value that x could be. So the answer for number 11 is x is 2. Okay. Number 12. If, okay, so this is similar problem. So let's do 12 here. If x minus 1 times x plus 1 is less than 0, then what is the largest integer value that x could be? Okay, so let's try first let's try 0. Okay, let's try 0 first. So we have 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Well, x is 0, right? If x is 0, we get 0. So 0 is not less than 0, so it doesn't work. Okay, let's try positive 1. Well, right here, 1 minus 1 is 0, so we get 0 again. So 1 doesn't work. How about 2? Okay, so we have 2 minus 1 times 2 plus 1 is less than 0. So here we have 2 minus 1 is 1, times 2 is 2, times 3 is 6. 6 is less than 0? No, right? 0 is not greater than 6, so 2 doesn't work either. So let's try negative numbers. So what if x is minus 1? Well, minus 1 right here, minus 1 plus 1 is 0, so we end up with 0 is less than 0. That doesn't work too. Let's try with negative 2. Well, negative 2 minus 1 times minus 2 times minus 2 plus 1 is less than 0. Minus 3 times minus 2 times minus 1 is less than 0. But this is minus 6 is less than 0, and this is correct. So yes, the largest integer value that x could be is going to be minus 2. Okay, so x equals minus 2. So x equals minus 2 is the solution for 12. So that's all for today. If you'd like to see more videos, please like, share, and subscribe.